Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayh. Wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Wa nashhadu anna sayyidina wa sanadina wa shafi'ana Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'd. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب الحكيم صدق الله العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وارحم على عبدك ورسولك سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وسلم تسليما. Inshallah, today we're going to first finish up Juz 11 and then after a small break we will do Surah Hud from Juz 12, and tomorrow inshallah we're going to do Surah Yusuf alayhi salam inshallah. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barak wa sallam. Inshallah ta'ala, today we're going to be finishing Juz 11 by doing all of Surah Yunus alayhi salam. Tomorrow we will begin later today, inshallah, in the second session we will begin Juz 12 by doing inshallah all of Surah Hud alayhi salam. Tomorrow inshallah we will finish Juz 12 and also do part of Juz 13 by doing Surah Yusuf alayhi salam. So today we're doing Surah number 10, Surah Yunus alayhi salam. Surah Yunus alayhi salam is the first of 6 surahs in Quran Kareem which begin with Alif Lam Ra, and then afterwards have some mention of Kitab, as we mentioned. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alif Lam Ra Tilka Ayatul Kitab al-Hakim. These indeed are the verses of the wise book, the wisdom book, the book of absolute wisdom. So Surah Yunus is the first of these 6 surahs. This is an early Meccan surah, and again it's very important to know the chronology and history of the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as it pertains to the revelation of these surahs and ayat al-Quran. Because of that, much of the surah is going to be talking about the truth of Quran Kareem, the truth of the Prophethood of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it is answering questions, allegations, objections, doubts raised by the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah, in other words the pagan idolaters, polytheists of Makkah. And this is a recurring theme throughout the surah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also addressed that this has gone through history, and Allah ta'ala sent messengers before and people have denied those messengers before. And Allah ta'ala will talk a lot about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the sense that He will remind them and show the pagans of Makkah, but to everybody, all of humanity who is reading Quran, that Allah ta'ala sends His bounties, sends His mercies. People turn to Allah ta'ala in times of difficulty, but then they turn their back on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah ta'ala will also negate, like we saw in Surah An-Nisa, Surah Al-Imran, etc., early surahs which were directed largely directly to the Ahl Kitab, and Allah Ta'ala negated their concepts such as Trinity and Isa Islam being the Son of God. One verse here will repeat that. Here, because Allah Ta'ala is largely addressing the mushrikeen, He will negate the concept of these false idols, and that these false gods will have no benefit to them in this world, and the false gods will have no benefit for them in the akhirah, and the message of Tawheed will be stressed. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also, at the end, from verses 71 to 93, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will talk about the stories of Nuh alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam. We will look at the verses about Nuh alayhi salam. The incident of Musa alayhi salam we have already discussed in earlier surahs, with the exception of one additional thing that we will do today, which is about Fir'aun. So let us begin inshallah. Surah Yunus. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alif Lam Ra Tilka Ayatul Kitab al-Hakim. So Alif Lam Ra, we've already mentioned this. These are the huruf muqatta'at, and Allah Ta'ala knows best what they truly mean, although many people have many of the ulama Mufassirun have put forward sometimes very interesting and rather fascinating explanations of what these could possibly mean. But one view that I find to be very strong and powerful, and that I shared with you earlier in Surah Al-Baqarah, Alif Lam Mim, is that Allah Ta'ala is showing that His kalam is beyond just what has been revealed in Kitabullah Quran, and His kalam as He knows His kalam is beyond human fathoming, human comprehension. Even just a few letters of Allah Ta'ala's kalam, Alif Lam Ra, just 3 simple letters, are entirely, utterly, completely beyond our comprehension. And that is the majesty and infinite knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and His kalam is equally infinitely wondrous. ذلك الكتاب تلك آيات الكتاب الحكيم, and these are the verses of revelation of Al-Kitab al-Hakim. So this is also a name of Quran al-Kareem, or Al-Hakim, because obviously the Quran al-Kareem itself contains wisdom, and Al-Hakim can also be taken from Hakam, that the Quran al-Kareem, this book, is the ultimately decisive one, rendering decision on all previous scriptures and able to render decision for all affairs of humanity, broadly speaking, providing principles for that until the end of time. Akana linnasi ajaban, that is it for humanity do they find it a marvel? Do they find it a wonder? Is it a wonder and a marvel for them? An awhayna ila rajulin minhum, that we have revealed this Kitab al-Hakim, Quran al-Majid, unto a person from amongst them, from a human being. An anzirin nasa wa bashiril ladina amanu anna lahum qadama sidqin inda rabbihim, that person, in other words, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to whom has been revealed this revelation, should warn humanity. An anzirin nasa, that he should warn all humanity, and he should wabashir ladina amanu, and give glad tidings to those who believe. What glad tidings? That anna lahum, that for them, qadama sidqin. Right, so sidq means truth, sincerity. Qadam is referring here to, you can say, like a station, a position. They will have a station, a position, a status, sidqin, of sincerity, of truth, inda rabbihim, with their Rabb. Qala al-kafirun, and the disbelievers, they say, Inna hadha lasahirun mubin. Now the law, they say about Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he is just a sorcerer. Mubin, he's obviously a sorcerer, manifestly a sorcerer, obviously, manifestly nothing other than a sahir, a sorcerer, or a magician. Alright? So, this is first thing, the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah, when we mentioned this part of Illa Rajulun Minhum, they, although Sayyidina Rasulullah was from the Quraysh, but still, when he went to the Quraysh, they thought that if God was going to send revelation on someone from us, He would pick somebody other than an orphan. Because remember, in the tribal mentality of clans and tribes, being an orphan was viewed as a very low power rank, and rather should be somebody who has extreme, parents and uncles. And obviously Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam had very prominent uncles, but the Quraysh felt that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not worthy. And also you have to understand, they realized that even if they were to retain economic and political leadership, the Prophet of a time is going to be the true political and economic leader, and the revelation and teachings that the Prophet brings are going to dominate any and all political, economic, and social systems. So this was a rebellion on their part. So Allah Ta'ala is asking them, Akana linnasi. So yes, on the one hand, linnas means all humanity. On the one hand, it means the people who are the inhabitants of Makkah Mukarramah, who are mushrikeen, who are polytheists and idol worshippers. Does it shock them? Does it bring them into ta'ajjub? Do they find it indeed marvelous, incredulous, wondrous that we should reveal this Kitab al-Hakim to a person from amongst them? Then their response, then the second thing, so this is the first thing that the mushrikeen of Makkah said, that why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The second thing is that they accused Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam of being a wizard, magician, sorcerer, that this is just a person who does sorcery. And what is that sorcery? The na'udhu billah ayat of Quran al-Kareem themselves are like spells. Now why did they say this? Because they saw people being captivated both by the verses being recited by the Prophet ﷺ and alhamdulillah by the nur of Nabuwa sallallahu alayhi wa himself. And when they saw this, it resembled to them the way people get caught up with magic. So they leveled this allegation also on Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa. So Allah in verses number 3 to 4, Allah Ta'ala reminds the mushrikeen, but then all nas, that look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of everything. Inna rabbakum Allah, that indeed your Rabb is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's very interesting if you track this. One of the things I've always found fascinating about Quran al-Kareem is Allah Ta'ala many times when addressing atheists, kuffar, mushrikeen, polytheists, idol worshippers, or others who don't believe in Him, He still says, I am your Rabb. So this is not I am, Allah says indeed your Rabb, but He still refers to Himself as Rabbukum. So this is one of the greatest mercies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has not removed His Rububiyyah, He has not removed His Rububiyyah, His Rabbness, if you will, in English, even from those of humanity who deny Him. He is Rabbun Nas, He is Rabbul Insan. He is addressing the mushrikeen and saying that, and referring to Himself as Rabbukum. Inna Rabbukum, indeed your Rabb is Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Alladhi khalaqa samawati wal arda fi sittati ayyam. He is that being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that being who created all that lies in the firmaments, heavens, realms that are beyond this earth and the earth itself in 6 days. So we've explained this before, that sittati ayyam means most likely 6 time periods, 6 intervals, 6 stages. Does not necessarily mean 6 24-hour earth days. ثم استوى على العرش. I've also explained this before in detail, that Allah Ta'ala then directed Himself to the affairs of the samawat and ard that He created. And the arsh is, if you will, the portal or the vantage point from which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directs Himself, His attention towards the samawat and the ard. يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرَ مَا مِن شَفِيءٍ إِلَّا مِن بَعْدِ إِذْنِهِ. And Allah Ta'ala says that there is no Yudabir al-Amr, that is the directing the affairs, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ma min shafi'in, that there is no intercessor, illa min ba'di idhnihi, except after the leave and permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that means there will be intercessors on the Day of Judgment, but there will not be the idols and the false gods that the polytheists worship. There will only be those whom Allah Ta'ala will give permission, and that is first and foremost the Anbiya and Prophets alayhim as-salam ajmain. ذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمْ. And again Allah Ta'ala says that is Allah, Rabbukum, your Rabb. Therefore فَأْبُدُوهُ, therefore worship Him and Him alone. أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ, are you not going to take heed? Will you not remember? Will you not accept this advice? إِلَيْهِ مَرْجِئُكُمْ, and to Him alone is all of your return. جَمِيعًا, all together. وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقًّا, and indeed the promise of Allah Ta'ala will always be true. إِنَّهُ يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began and originated creation, and then yu'iduhu, then He will bring it back. He will return it to Him. He will bring it back. Some translate ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ as He will repeat it. لِيَجْزِيَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, so that Allah Ta'ala may recompense and reward those who have iman and those who do righteous deeds, بِالْقِسْطِ, with absolute justice and fairness. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, and as far as those who disbelieve, لَهُمْ شَرَابٌ مِّنْ حَمِيمٍ, they will be given a drink of boiling liquids. وَعَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, and they will be given a painful punishment, بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْفُرُونَ, because of their disbelief, because of their كَانُوا يَكْفُرُونَ, because of their remaining on disbelief, because of their perpetual disbelief, for their adopting and continuing to remain upon disbelief. Then Allah Ta'ala continues, Huwa alladhi. Remember I told you Imam Ghazali really likes these verses, Huwa alladhi, and he selects them all as the jewels of the Quran. Huwa alladhi, He Allah, alladhi is that being who ja'ala shamsa diya'an wal qamara noora. He is that being who has made the sun a radiant, shining light, and has made the moon a reflected light. So wal qamara just says nooran, it just says light. But this is the difference between diya'an and noor. Diya'an means that you have your own inherent light, your own radiance, your own shining, your own luminosity. And Nuran means light of any kind, can mean diya, but can also mean, in the way that we know the moon reflects the light of the sun, right? It actually does not have its own light. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the being who made the sun and moon in this manner. Manazila. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them in stations, alright? And the stations here, manazil, is referring to, in terms of the moon, its phase and its orbital phases. In terms of the sun, its station or manzil as the center of the solar system. لِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابَ, so that you may know the number of years, right? وَالْحِسَابَ, and so that you may be able to account, or count, it means time. So you can reckon and account in terms of time. مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ ذَلِكَ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ, and Allah Ta'ala did not create all of this except in absolute truth. يُفَصِّلُ الْآيَاتِ لَقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ, Allah Ta'ala makes clear and expounds the signs, His signs, for a qawm, such a people, يَعْلَمُونَ, who know. إِنَّ فِي اخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, and indeed in the alternating of the day and the night, of the night and the day. وَمَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, and in all that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in the firmaments, the heavens, and on the earth, and all of that are what? لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَّقُونَ, are signs for people who are conscious of Allah Ta'ala, who revere Allah Ta'ala. So taqwa can't always be translated as fear, right? لِقَوْمٍ يَتَّقُونَ, to those who are aware, conscientious, and revere Allah Ta'ala, who gaze upon the signs of His creation in awe and reverence. They will find signs therein. Okay, contrast this to the next group of people who now, instead of simply disbelievers, sometimes I will also mention atheists. Alright? Being atheists meaning those who deny the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas the Christians and Jews are sometimes labeled as kuffar in Quran in terms of their disbelievers in the Quran and disbelievers in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and have disbelieved because they have called Isa alayhi salam the Son of God, so they committed a type of shirk. But still, they're not atheists. They do not disbelieve in the existence of an Almighty God. Alright. Whereas the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah did not believe such a thing. Inna dina la yarjuna liqa'ana. So the way Allah Ta'ala expresses this, and this is definitely, I think it's the first verse we're doing, and it may be the first time this expression has come so far in Quran al-Kareem. So the liqa, which is literally the meeting with Allah Ta'ala. Yarjuna means those who anticipate with desire, who wish, who are expecting to have that meeting. Right? And so this is an attribute of believers. One is at the level of Iman and Aqidah. They anticipate and expect to meet Allah Ta'ala because that is their Aqidah, their belief, their creed. And then in terms of their love, they also yearn for and hope for that meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first description of the atheist is that they have no hope or no desire to meet for the meeting with Allah Ta'ala, nor do they have any expectation or anticipation of that because they don't believe it. It's not in their Aqidah. وَرَضُوا بِالْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. The second description of them is that they are completely content and pleased with the life of this world. So the believer is not content and pleased with the life of this world, right? The believer seeks the akhirah. The believer knows that pleasure, they will only be truly content in the akhirah. Even if a believer, alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala has blessed them and kept them comfortable in this world, and they have many joys and happinesses in this world, still their radha, this particular word, their radha, their ridwan, their inner deep pleasure, contentment can never be with the life of this world. So this verse is about the atheists, so they are happy, right? وَرَضُوا بِالْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, they are very happy with the life of this world. So they are happy and content with the life of this world. Second, وَاطْمَأَنُّوا بِهَا, so they feel itminan with it. They feel safe and secure and tranquil and serene, and they're satisfied with it. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا غَافِلُونَ, so they are then heedless, Allah Ta'ala is saying, is of our signs. So now link this to what came before. Those people who do not have the creed that they will meet Allah Ta'ala, therefore they have no anticipation, expectation of such a meeting, nor therefore do they have any hope and desire and yearning for such a meeting, and they're pleased with the life of this world, and it gives them contentment and serenity from it. They're the ones who, even if they gaze upon the samawat and ard, they will be ghafil from those signs. They will not be able to perceive the signs of Allah Ta'ala in His creation. So there's an answer to a question that, how come every scientist doesn't accept Islam? Or how come every scientist... So let's take a step back. How come every scientist doesn't believe in God? Right? And one reason is because they're not looking, they're not searching, they're not listening. The heart is not open. The heart doesn't feel anything, an emptiness that needs to be filled because of these attributes that have been mentioned. They have no desire for the meeting with Allah Ta'ala, they're happy with this world, and they're content and serene therein. Ulaika ma'wahumun nar. Such people, their abode and their dwelling will be in the fire of Jahannam. Alright? Ma'wa means their abode, can also literally mean in one sense their refuge. Bima kanu yaksibun, by means of all that which they used to earn. So by means of their own deeds. And one way they earned it is through their atheism. Verses 9 to 10 now about the believers. Inna ladina amanu wa amilu salihat. Indeed, those who believe and perform righteous deeds and are virtuous acts. Yahdihim rabbuhum. Their Rabb will guide them, bi imanihim, by means of their iman. Alright, so hidayah comes on the basis of iman. There's one level of hidayah that all nas get, and there's an extra hidayah that people get by basis of their iman. Tajri min tahtihim al-anharu fi jannatin na'im, and underneath which they will have rivers running below them in Jannat Na'im, gardens of absolute Na'im means bliss and delight. Da'wahum fiha subhanakallahumma. Their da'wah, right? Their supplication, their dua, their prayer that they will make in Jannah will be what? Subhanakallahumma. So remember the thana at the start of salah? Allah Ta'ala makes us begin our very salah by saying the dua that the people of Jannah will make. Subhanakallahumma. Subhanaka means glory be to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you are above and beyond any imagination. You are adorned with every perfection. You are absolutely glorious. Allahumma simply means oh Allah. Allahumma simply means oh Allah. Wa tahiyyatuhum fiha salam. And their greeting therein, in other words, in the Jannat Na'im, in the garden in paradise, will be what? Salam, will be simply peace. Wa akhiru da'wahum an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And what is this? And the end of their dua, the end of their supplication, the end of their prayer will be what? Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, which after the tasmiyah is the first verse basically of Surah Fatiha, also a kind of beginning of our salah. And then Allahu alam, what amount of dua they make in between. Alright, so their dua will begin with subhan and end with hamd. So this is from the adab of dua as well. When we make dua to Allah Ta'ala, we should try to begin with subhan and end with hamd. And we should also try to begin with salawat and end after the subhan. We should say salawat. Before the hamd we should say salawat, because Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in the hadith that dua that is preceded by and followed by salawat upon me is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the adab of dua, to begin with tasbih and salawat and to end with salawat and hamd. And then Allahu alam, how much dua, how they will call upon Allah Ta'ala, how they will express their love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah. So it's important that tasbih and hamd will continue in Jannah as well. Okay, verse number 11, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that, and this is, so they're going back to answering the challenges that the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah would say. وَلَوْ يُعَجِّلُ اللَّهُ لِلنَّاسِ الشَّرَّ اسْتِعْجَالَهُمْ بِالْخَيْرِ. That if Allah ta'ala was to hasten, right, yu'ajjala, to make swift, to hasten, to bring forward what? Evil for humanity, even while they would rather choose to seek the hastening of khair, right? In the same way, yes, as they, even as they would seek to hasten the khair, even then, لَقُضِيَ إِلَيْهِمْ أَجَلُهُمْ. Their term would have been decreed. Their appointed term would be decreed, would be decided. لَقُضِيَ, their appointed term, أَجَلُهُمْ, their appointed term would be decreed and decided for them. فَنَذَرُ الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ لِقَاءَنَا فِي طُغْيَانِهِمْ يَهْمَهُونَ. And look at what is Allah saying, that we Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that we leave those people who do not have any hope, expectation to meet us, fi tughyanihim ya'mahun, that we leave them wandering in their tughyan, we leave them wandering in their rebellion, in their transgression. Alright? So the notion of wandering means they're wandering astray, they're wandering without direction towards Allah ta'ala, they're wandering without purpose. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves them in that situation. So this is the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He does not hasten the punishment on them, because this is a challenge also that the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah made to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that why don't you send this punishment on us if you say that disbelievers will be punished. In verse 12, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a general thing, that humanity turns to Allah ta'ala the word in should have been here only once, in affliction, and then they forget Him. وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ الضُّرُّ دَعَانَا. And whenever harm afflicts humanity, literally means it touches humanity, whenever harm afflicts humanity, da'ana, they make dua to us, they call upon us, whether they are lijambihi, lying on their side, or qa'idan, or sitting, or qa'iman, or standing. Whatever situation they're in, they call upon us. فَلَمَّا كَشَفْنَا عَنْهُ ذُرَّهُ. But when we remove that affliction from them, مَرَّ كَأَنْ لَمْ يَدْعُنَا إِلَّا ذُرٍّ مَسَّهُ. So they continue, they proceed as if they never made dua. As if that person continues as if he never made dua to us. إِلَّا ذُرٍّ مَسَّهُ. As if he never made dua to us regarding that harm that had afflicted him. Allahu Akbar. كَذَلَكَ زُيِّنَ لِلْمُسْرِفِينَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Thus So وَكَذَلِكَ زُيِّنَ. So zayyana means it makes zinat, muzayyan. Thus is beautified, thus is made to seem beautiful, fair and agreeable. Lil musrifin, to those who do israf, those who transgress the bounds, those who exceed ma kanu ya'malun, all that they do. Alright, so it's made to seem beautiful and fair to them, but in reality they are transgressors. So this is a general aspect, obviously, that is for all humanity, that many times people turn to Allah Ta'ala at the time of their difficulty, but then once Allah Ta'ala removes their difficulty, they turn back and continue in their regular life. 13 to 14. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that Allah Ta'ala has sent messengers before, and there have been communities before, and there's in a sense a certain continuity that exists in humanity. وَلَقَدْ أَهْلَكْنَا الْقُرُونَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. Allah Ta'ala says that indeed we have destroyed entire qurun. So qurun means entire generations before you. لَمَّا ظَلَمُوا. When they were wrong, when they did wrong, when they committed wrongdoing and injustice. وَجَاءَتْهُمْ رُسُلُهُمْ. And when came to them messengers. Hum, their messengers, right? بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. When their messengers brought to them clear proofs. وَمَا كَانُوا لِيُؤْمِنُوا. But still, they did not believe. كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْقَوْمَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. Thus does Allah Ta'ala recompense or punish the community of wrongdoers. ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ خَلَائِفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Then we made you, the thing is, then we made you, or we placed you as khala'ifa fil ard, as their successors on earth. So one way is to say their successors, that you are following those who came before, min qablikum. And a second way to read this is khala'ifa, as we did before the plural of khalifa. Allah Ta'ala says we made you vice regents and representatives on earth. Min ba'dihim, after them, linanzura kayfa ta'malun, so that we may see how is it that you choose to practice. So we may observe and see how you choose to obey, how you choose to practice, how you choose to do. 15 to 16, Allah Ta'ala makes it clear that Quran Kareem is true divine revelation. وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ. And if are recited upon them are clear verses of revelation, or verses of revelation that are absolutely clear and clarify all matters. قَالُوا الَّذِينَ لَا يَرْجُونَ لِقَاءَنَا. So Allah Ta'ala keeps referring to them like this, that those who do not anticipate or expect the meeting with us, those who have no desire and hope for the meeting with us, what does they say? إِتِّ بِقُرْآنٍ غَيْرِ هَذَا. They say bring a recital other than this. So Quran here now in the linguistic sense, bring a recited revelation that you proclaim, غَيْرِ هَذَا. Allahu Akbar. Other than this. Oh, baddilhu, or change this one, or change it. Qul, proclaim to them Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Proclaim to them Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, ma yakunu li an ubaddilahu. It is not in any way to me, it does not befall me, it is not for me to change it in any way whatsoever. Min tilka in nafsi, from my own nafs. It's not for my to do so of my own accord and my own wish. In attabi'u illa ma yuha ilayya. That I follow nothing other than except that which has been revealed to me. Inni akhafu, indeed I fear. In asaytu rabbi, were I to disobey my Rabb, adhaba yawmin azim, I fear a punishment on a day, on a tremendous day. Right? So this is also Allah Ta'ala making it clear that Sayyidina Rasulullah is the abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not fabricate Quran, he does not recite Quran himself. He does not fabricate Quran Kareem himself. He cannot choose what to recite. He cannot change what is recited. He is an absolute slave of Allah Ta'ala, and all prophets and messengers are such that they only truly recite what Allah Ta'ala has revealed to them. Qul, proclaim to them Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, law sha'allahu ma talawtuhu alaykum wa la adrakum bihi. And if, Qul, proclaim to them Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed, ma talawtuhu alaykum, I would not have even recited it unto you. Wala adrakum bihi, nor would he ever given you idrak of it. He would never have even let you be even aware of it. Faqad labithtu fikum umra. Indeed, I have lived amongst you for so many years. Umuran, many years, a lifetime. Min qablihi, before it. Afala taqilun, will you not then understand? So here Allah Ta'ala is telling Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam to again first to mention his life, right? To mention his life and his character, because obviously, as all of you know, the Quran Kareem was revealed when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam was 40, and he lived a whole lifetime in front of the people of Makkah Mukarramah, And as we know, he was referred to as As-Sadiqul Amin, the true one and the trustworthy one. So this is, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran Kareem attesting to the life lived by Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam amongst the Ahl Makkah before Nubuwwah. And this is one of the greatnesses of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that even before the outward manifestation of Nubuwwah in the Mount Hira, he still had such a noble and pure, virtuous character and life, that life, pre-prophetic life, if you will, is also a proof of the truth of Quran Kareem. So just imagine that person whose pre-prophetic life is proof of the truth of Quran Kareem, then imagine how much of proof his Nubuwwah and the nur of his Nubuwwah and his prophetic life is of Quran Kareem. Quran Kareem being truly a divine revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verse number 19, وَمَا كَانَ النَّاسُ إِلَّا أُمَّةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ, that actually all of humanity was not but one community. One community. Now, what does this mean? One meaning is that there were one community, as I've said, that they've all received one religion from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Means the Jews should have become Christians when Christianity came. Then the Jews and Christianity should have become Muslims when Islam came. It should have just been believer in every prophet and book that was sent to them, or the one who was most recently sent to them. And this was just meant to be one long, continuous, unbroken chain of Iman. But فَاخْتَلَفُوا, however, humanity chose instead to differ. And each religious community then, just from the Abrahamic faiths, decided to deny and reject the next one. And then they became different religions. وَلَوْلَا كَلِمَةٌ سَبَقَتْ مِنْ رَبِّكَ لَقُضِيَ بَيْنُهُمْ فِي مَا فِيهِ يَخْتَلِفُونَ. And if it were not for a kalima, a word, and I'll come back to this, سَبَقَتْ مِنْ رَبِّكَ, that has come before from your Rabb. So this is singular, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from your Rabb, you Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's Rabb. لَقُضِيَ بَيْنَهُمْ, then the matter would have been decided. Judgment would have taken place between them concerning all that which they differ. So what is that kalima? Kalima is this decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that Allah ta'ala is going to defer judgment to when? To the day of judgment. Allah ta'ala is going to defer judgment to the day of judgment. In other words, simply, Allah ta'ala is going to allow humanity to, although He will keep sending one message through all the scriptures and prophets to them, but He will allow humanity to remain in this ikhtilaf, in this difference, until the day of judgment. And this is something, if you remember, we did earlier. In Quran Kareem, Allah Ta'ala mentioned that every ummah has an ajal, has a time period that is appointed and will also expire. Verse 20, وَيَقُولُونَ لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ آيَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ. And then they also said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the pagans of Makkah Mukarramah, لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ آيَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ, that why has no sign been sent down unto him from his Rabb? And what do they mean by that? Even though Allah Ta'ala was giving signs to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they meant that a sign that is in agreement with what they want to see, a sign of the like that they want to see. So فَقُلْ, proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إِنَّمَا الْغَيْبُ لِلَّهِ, that all that is unseen and unknown belongs entirely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَانْتَظِرُوا, and you should wait. فَإِنِّي مَعَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُنْتَظِرِينَ, and I am also amongst you, I will be amongst you, amongst those waiting with you. 21. Humanity is ungrateful. وَإِذَا أَذَقْنَا النَّاسَ رَحْمَةً مِّن بَعْدِ ضَرَّاءَ, similar to what Allah mentioned before, ضَرَّاءَ مَسَّتْهُمْ, that and when humanity tastes, and we give humanity to taste a mercy. We make humanity taste mercy after hardship afflicted them. إِذَا لَهُمْ مَكْرٌ فِي آيَاتِنَا, but still they have a makr, they have a plot, scheming, conniving regarding the verses of our revelation and our signs. So this is again generally applying to all of humanity. But some of the ulama of tafsir have taken it that Allah Ta'ala is addressing the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah regarding a particular period in their history where they had a 7-year drought. And they came to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and they asked him to make dua to Allah Ta'ala to send rain. And the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made dua to Allah Ta'ala and Allah Ta'ala sent the rain. Right? And now you would think they would believe, but they did not believe and they went back to their old schemes and plots against the verses of Revelation. And against here now it's dual meaning, against the signs. So they got a sign, which is that rain was sent down. So they got the sign they wanted, but they went back and started plotting against the verses of Revelation. Kulillahu asra'u makran. So proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala Himself is the most swift in planning. Inna rusulana yaktubuna ma tamkurun. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala is saying, indeed our messengers, alayhim assalam ajmain, yaktubuna ma tamkurun, they record, our rusul here means our emissaries, which means the angels, record, are writing down, inscribing all that you plot. So everything that you plot is being written down by the angels. What does it mean? It's witnessed by Allah Ta'ala, it's on the record. It's on the record. And Allah Ta'ala is also mentioning here and showing that He has other members of creation, other aspects that He has created, such as the angels who bear witness to the schemes of humanity. Verses 22 to 23, that humanity is insincere. Huwa alladhi, again those verses that begin with He, Allah, He is that being who yusayyirukum fil barri wal bahri. He is that being who makes you do sayr, who makes you travel, right? Who causes you to travel, who enables you to travel, who makes you travel in the land and the ocean. Hatta idha kuntum fil fulki, so much so that when you are sailing in the ships, وَجَرَيْنَا بِهِمْ بِرِيهٍ طَيِّبَةٍ, and then when they sail, when comes upon them a good wind, right, a favorable wind, وَفَرِهُ بِهَا, you get all happy and rejoice upon that. Then جَاءَتْهَا رِيحٌ آسِفٌ, and then comes upon you a violent wind, right, like a storm type wind. وَجَاءَهُمُ الْمَوْجُ مِنْ كُلِّ مَكَانٍ, and then comes upon that ship waves and tidal waves. Mawj is waves, tidal waves from kulli makan, from all places, from all sides. وَذَنُّوا, such that they start to think, أَنَّهُمْ أُحِيطَ بِهِمْ, so they think that they're going to be overwhelmed, literally encompassed by those waves, right? So that they're going to drown. دَعَوَ اللَّهَ, they turn to Allah Ta'ala in supplication and dua. مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ, Allahu Akbar. They turn to Allah Ta'ala, مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ, turning all of their deen exclusively to Him. So deen means all of their faith, all of their belief, all of their trust. That is deen. Deen is what you believe and what you trust in this world. That is your deen. So we believe in Allah Ta'ala and the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and trust in them. That is our deen. So they sincerely, totally, entirely, utterly place all their deen to Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. Okay? لَإِنْ أَنْجَيْتَنَا مِنْ هَذِهِ. So then, when and what do they? These are their words. They're making this is the words of their dua. That indeed, if you, Allah Ta'ala, save us min hadihi, from all this, from the storm, the violent winds, and the waves that are overwhelming us, lanakunanna min ash-shakirin, surely, definitely, we will be amongst those who are grateful. Okay. فَلَمَّا أَنْجَاهُمْ, so then when Allah Ta'ala saved them, إِذَا هُمْ يَبْغُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ, look at them, إِذَا, remember when, look at them when, behold them when, that they behave in a rebellious way, they do baghawa, they behave in a rebellious way on earth, بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ, without any right. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ, Allah Ta'ala says, O humanity, إِنَّمَا بَغْيُكُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ, know that your rebellion is only going to affect you. مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, and the enjoyment of this world. ثُمَّ إِلَيْنَا مَرْجِعُكُمْ, and after that you will return to us. فَنُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ, and surely we will inform you about all that you used to do. We will inform you about all that you used to do. So what Allah Ta'ala is saying in Mata'al Hayat Dunya is that you will have only the pleasure of this world for the duration of the pleasure of the lifetime of this world. And your rebellion, it will count against you, meaning in the Akhirah, all your rebellion will give you is the stuff of this world. Alright. 24. Allah Ta'ala gives a long simile metaphor for this hayat dunya. Okay, so innama mathalul hayat dunya, indeed the parable, the likeness of the life of this dunya. So now we have to move a little bit fast because we got delayed with this introduction. So let me just translate this. The parable of the life of this dunya is that like of water, which Allah Ta'ala says that we, Allah Ta'ala, send down that water from the sky. And then that water mingles with all those things that grow from the earth. Alright? You can call crops, vegetation, anything that grows from the earth, the produce and product of the earth. Mimma ya'kulun nas, from that which humanity eat, wal an'amu, and the livestock eat. Okay? Hatta idha akhadatil ardu zukhrufaha, until the earth takes on its zukhruf, it takes on a luster, was zayyanat, and then it becomes beautified and adorned. وَظَنَّ أَهْلُهَا, so then the inhabitants of the earth, they began to think, أَنَّهُمْ قَادِرُونَ عَلَيْهَا, they think that they have power now, they're qadir, they've gained mastery and power over that earth. أَتَاهَا أَمْرُنَا لَيْلًا أَوْ نَهَارًا, and then Allah Ta'ala says that our command comes upon it, whether by night or by day. فَجَعَلْنَاهَا حَسِيدًا, and we make it a hasidan, as if a field that was totally harvested, tilled. كَأَنْ لَمْ تَغْنَ بِالْأَمْسِ, as if it had not been ghani, it had not been rich the day before, yesterday. كَذَلِكَ نُفَصِّلُ, thus Allah Ta'ala says that thus do we make clear al-ayati, the signs, لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, for people who reflect. So what does this mean? Let's understand the actual parable and then how it is explaining the life of dunya. Alright? Because it's a very important way, a very nice way, obviously Allah Ta'ala is teaching us in Quran, to understand the life of dunya. So number one, Allah Ta'ala sends rain. And that makes everything lush, verdant, crops grow, makes the land look beautiful, makes it look thriving. Just like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will nourish human beings, or He will nourish families, or generations, or civilizations. But, just like in the example of the agricultural crop, Allah ta'ala will then at any moment, when His amr comes, at any moment, whether it comes at night or day, He will level that. He will render that as if it's obliterated, that there is nothing left. He will leave it hasidan, as a harvested, mowed, tilled field, flat, as if there's nothing left. كَأَن لَمْ تَغْنَ بِالْأَمْسِ, as if there is nothing even there, as if there was no yesterday. Right? As if it had not been so plush and abundant. So just like that, Allah Ta'ala can all of a sudden, when His command comes, He can render a person's enjoyment of this world, the mata'al hayat dunya, null. He can pull the plug on this life. He can pull the plug on their prestige, on their power, on their fame, on their enjoyment, on their happiness, on their success, on their business, on anything. Thus does Allah Ta'ala explain His signs for people who would reflect. Then verse 25, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Wallahu yadu ila daris salam. Indeed, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling and inviting to the abode of everlasting peace. Means Allah Ta'ala wants all of humanity to enter Jannah. وَيَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ, and Allah Ta'ala guides whomsoever He wills to Sirat al-Mustaqim, to the straight path. Okay, verses 26 to 27, Allah Ta'ala mentions about those who do good deeds in 26 and those who do bad deeds in 27. لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا الْحُسْنَى. So to those who, this is very strong, right? And to those who أَحْسَنُوا الْحُسْنَى, you can literally say who virtuously adopt virtue, who beautifully do beauty, who excellently do excellence. وَزِيَادَةٌ, and they do even more. وَلَا يَرْحَقُ وُجُوهَهُمْ قَتَرٌ. So their faces will, their yarhaku, their faces will not be disgraced, their faces will not be abased, qatrun in the slightest. Without dhilla, nor will any humiliation come upon them. Ulaika ashabul jannah, such are the companions of Jannah, of paradise, heaven. Hum fiha khalidun, and they will dwell therein forever. You can also say here that not a single speck of dust will darken them. Not a single, and no humiliation will come on them. وَالَّذِينَ كَسَبُوا سَيِّئَاتٍ, and those who commit evil, جَزَاءُ سَيِّئَةٍ بِمِثْلِهَا, so the punishment of the evil deed will be with the like of it. So one meaning of this is that they will only get one evil for an evil deed committed. Like we had mentioned earlier, in the Quran, you can get potentially 700 virtues for a good deed. And just go back here, another way you can do this, لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا, to those who did ihsan, who committed acts of virtue and excellence and beauty, al-husna, they will get that which is excellent and beautiful. That can mean Jannah itself. وَزِيَادَةٌ, and they will get even more. Some took that to mean they will get the vision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will get the companionship of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They will get some type of ziyada. They will get, so for those who do beautiful actions and are beautiful in their acts of virtue, they will get that which is beautiful, and they will get even more. It comes in a hadith that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was actually asked about this ayah. So you may be surprised that they're actually, the majority of ayat al-Quran, we do not have a hadith specifically about that ayah, but Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked specifically about these words, and he replied that when the people of Jannah enter Jannah and the people of Jahannam enter Jahannam, so then a caller will call out, "Oh, you who are dwelling in Jannah, you have a promise from Allah Ta'ala that He wishes to fulfill for you." And they will reply, then what can that promise be? Has not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made our scales of good deeds heavy? Has He not brightened and illuminated spiritually our faces and caused us to enter into Jannah and save us from the fire of Jahannam? What more? Then Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, then Allah Ta'ala will remove the veil and allow the people of Jannah to gaze upon Him. And then Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he swore, wallahi, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala will give them nothing more beloved to them, to the Ahl Jannah, nor anything cooler to their eyes, nothing more delightful than the vision of Himself. So in light of the hadith, that is the meaning of this, ziyadatun. So then this is now very intense, right? This isn't just amal salihat, this is ahsanu. To those who do the highest, most virtuous, most beautiful, most excellent form of a'mal as-salih, they will get al-husna wa ziyada. Okay, this is done. This was done. So for the people who committed evil deeds, وَتَرْهَقُهُمْ ذِلَّةٌ مَا لَهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ وَتَرْهَقُهُمْ ذِلَّةٌ, and so humiliation will come upon them. Humiliation will afflict them, abasement and disgrace will come upon them. وَمَا لَهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ عَاصِمٍ, and there will be none who can protect them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كَأَنَّمَا أُغْشِيَتْ وُجُوهُهُمْ, it will be as if their faces have been enshrouded. كِتَأً مِنَ اللَّيْلِ, with swaths of the darkness of the night. مُظْلِمًا, with swaths of the darkness of the night. they will be so obscure, they will be in such evil, there will be such darkness on them. Ulaika ashabun nar, and these are the companions of the fire of Jannah, hum fiha khalidun, and they will abide therein forever. وَيَوْمَ نَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا, and on that day Allah Ta'ala says that we, Allah Ta'ala, will gather them all together. ثُمَّ نَقُولُ لِلَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا مَكَانَكُمْ أَنْتُمْ وَشُرَكَاؤُكُمْ, that Allah Ta'ala will say to those who committed idolatry, those who associated partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what will Allah Ta'ala say to them? مَكَانَكُمْ, that you literally it means you are there. Makanakum, you stay where you are, your place. Antum wa shurakaukum, you and those who were your partners, those who you ascribed as partners to Allah Ta'ala, they're your partners. فَزَيَّلْنَا بَيْنَهُمْ, so Allah says that we will separate them. وَقَالَ شُرَكَاؤُهُمْ, and their partners will say, مَا كُنْتُمْ إِيَّانَا تَعْبُدُونَ, it was not us that you used to worship. It was not us who used to worship. Means they will disavow, they will disassociate themselves. This is why I put it, that those who the disbelievers associated with Allah Ta'ala with themselves disassociate themselves from the disbelievers on that day of judgment. They'll say, no, it wasn't us who you were worshipping. It wasn't us who you were worshipping. And this is the theme Allah Ta'ala said in other places in Quran Kareem as well. فَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ, and Allah Ta'ala is sufficient as a witness between you and between us. إِن كُنَّا عَنْ إِبَادَتِكُمْ لَغَافِلِينَ. So they're saying those idols and partners that these idolaters ascribe to Allah Ta'ala, they're calling on Allah Ta'ala. فَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا, they're saying Allah is enough as a witness between us and between you. And we were totally ghafil, we didn't even know. So just imagine the stone is going to say, look, I was just a piece of stone, I never told them to worship me, I'm just a piece of stone. إِن كُنَّا عَنْ إِبَادَتِكُمْ لَغَافِلِينَ, we were totally heedless of your worship. Allah Ta'ala is witness. Allahu Akbar. So 30. Then on the day of judgment, what will happen? هُنَالِكَ تَبْلُو كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا أَسْلَفَتْ. Hunalaka means there and then on that day of judgment, every nafs is going to do what? Will experience that which it did in the past. Tablu ma aslafat. وَرُدُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ مَوْلَاهُمُ الْحَقِّ, and they will be returned back to their Rabb, who is their true Mawla, is their true master. وَذَلَّ عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ, and all that they all that they used to fabricate and invent and attribute as lies to Allah Ta'ala, the false idols, ذَلَّ عَنْهُمْ, they will all forsake them. They will all disavow themselves. They will all distance themselves from them. So these are all verses that Allah Ta'ala is addressing to the pagans of Makkah Mukarramah. قُلْ مَنْ يَرْزُقُكُمْ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ, they proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked, who is it that provides for you sustenance? مَنْ يَرْزُقُكُمْ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ, from the heavens, from the sky and the earth. أَمَّنْ يَمْلِكُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارِ, and who is it who has power over hearing and sight? وَمَنْ يَخْرِجُ الْحَيَّ مِنَ الْمَيِّتِ وَيُخْرِجُ الْمَيِّتَ مِنَ الْحَيِّ, and who is it that brings forth the living from the dead and brings forth the dead from the living? وَمَنْ يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرَ, and who is it that directs the affair? فَسَيَقُولُونَ اللَّهِ, they will say Allah. فَقُلْ أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ, so then proclaim to them, so will you not then have taqwa? Will you not then revere Allah Ta'ala, be conscious of Him and fear Him and obey Him? So what does it mean here? That they themselves will answer that it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They themselves will answer. Now, one reason here is that because some types of polytheism, like in Hinduism as well, they do have a God concept, that they have a concept of one supreme God, who is the king of all these other lesser gods. So when you ask them these ultimate questions, that who sends rizq and who controls hearing and sight, they will normally give the answer of their supreme God, the supreme God of their many deities. And so even they understand that there must be a highest master power. So the reality is that yes, Allah Ta'ala is none other than that supreme being they believe in, but all the lesser deities and other gods and idols that they ascribe and associate as partners to Allah Ta'ala, all of that is false. Verses 32 to verse 33, Allah Ta'ala is mentioning that He Himself, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and His word are absolutely on haqq. فَذَلِكُمُ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمُ الْحَقِّ. And this and that is Allah, Rabbukum, your Rabb, Al-Haq, the true Rabb. فَمَاذَا بَعْدَ الْحَقِّ إِلَّا الضَّلَالِ. And what remains beyond truth other than except for error. فَأَنَّا تُصْرَفُونَ. So then where is it that you are turning? How is it? How is it or where is it that you turn? كَذَلِكَ حَقَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ. And then also what is haqq, and thus has been established as true the kalima of your Rabb, the word of your Rabb. الَّذِينَ فَسَقُوا. Upon those who were defiantly disobedient. أَنَّهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. How that they chose not to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the kalima of Allah Ta'ala is His command, His will, His wish, His decree. And if we continue this, if we read this as a continuation of before, so then on the Day of Judgment also Allah Ta'ala will tell them that the kalima of Allah Ta'ala came as haqq to you. 36, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَمَا يَتَّبِعُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ إِلَّا الظَّنَّ إِنَّ الظَّنَّ لَا يُغْنِي مِنَ الْحَقِّ شَيْئًا. So first I want to explain to you the correct meaning of this verse, and I will show you how some people have very grossly misinterpreted and misapplied this verse. Allah Ta'ala says that أَكْثَرَهُمْ, the majority of them, وَمَا يَتَّبِعُ, they do not follow إِلَّا الظَّنَّ, except speculation. إِنَّ الظَّنَّ لَا يُغْنِي مِنَ الْحَقِّ شَيْئًا. Indeed, speculation, conjecture, cannot avail against the truth shay'an in the slightest. Inna Allah alimun bima yaf'alun. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala is all-knowing about every single thing that they do. Here, dhan is talking about belief. This is why I said that, I put in the descriptor, speculation is not correct in matters of belief. Speculation is not correct in matters of belief. However, when it comes to ijtihad is a speculative activity, it's a conjecture, no doubt of a highly specialist kind of knowledge, but it's not qati, it is not yaqeen, it is dhanni. So in areas of knowledge, speculation is fine. In areas of aqeedah, aqaid, what is your belief, speculation is not fine. It also, so the way this is misused is some people, they try to use this verse to suggest that all the hadith that the muhaddithin have said are dhanni, are of highly plausible, very probable, but not absolute certainty. Allah Ta'ala Himself has removed them in the Quran. No, this verse is not about hadith. Or they say that all the positions of the jurists, that they say, well, there's multiple opinions and there's different opinions, therefore each individual opinion is only quote-unquote dhanni, which means it has a certain level of plausibility and probability, but is not qati, it doesn't have absolute certainty, so this verse dismisses all those opinions as well. No, that's not what this verse is talking about. First of all, Allah Ta'ala is talking about the disbelievers. Second, Allah Ta'ala is talking about iman, belief, aqidah, creedal beliefs. Okay, what this a correct modern application of this verse would mean that when we're trying to figure out the ultimate realities of the world, so we're not going to go to Neoplatonism. This is a mistake Ibn Sina made. We're not going to go to human philosophers because that's dhan. For figuring out what our creedal beliefs are, we need a source that is qati, that is absolutely certain and true, and that is revelation, wahi, that is scripture, kitab, that is Quran al-Kareem, and that is the Nabuwa of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alright. Verses 37 to 38, Allah Ta'ala again repeatedly emphasizing this reality that the Quran al-Kareem is from Allah Ta'ala. وَمَا كَانَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنُ أَن يُفْتَرَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. It is not possible that this Quran al-Kareem, this recited revelation of scriptural kitab, could have been fabricated. Min dunillah. So now, by yuftara doesn't mean fabricated in a bad way, made except by anyone apart from Allah Ta'ala. Means Allah Ta'ala Him alone is the designer and author and speaker of Quran Kareem. وَلَكِنْ تَصْدِيقَ الَّذِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. And actually the Quran Kareem is simply confirming, verifying that which came before it from all the scriptural revelations sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And thirdly, وَالتَّفْسِيلَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ مِنْ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. It's also come as a tafsil. It has come as an elaboration of Al-Kitab, La Rayba Fi. And there is no doubt in whatsoever in Min Rabbil Alameen, and it is from the Rabb of the Alameen, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is something we've seen many times. Alright? Am yakulun aftarahu. And they say, or do they say that he has fabricated it? So proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fa'tu bi suratin mithlihi. So why don't you bring a surah like it? Wad'u man istata'tum min dunillah. And you call upon, apart from Allah Ta'ala, whomsoever you want, whomsoever you are able to call upon. In kuntum sadiqeen, if indeed you are truthful. So this is, one of the quote-unquote challenge verses of Quran Kareem. Right? And this comes in several places in Quran, Surah Baqarah, as well. It's going to come in Surah Hud again, and it comes in Surah Bani Israel and in other places as well. Bring a surah like it, bring a verse like it. And this is a challenge, and alhamdulillah, no human being has successfully answered. Some of them may mistakenly think they have answered this, but they have not successfully answered it. Alright. Verse 39 and verse 41. So I left 40 because 40 is just an interlude going back to the believers. But in 39 and 41, Allah Ta'ala mentions two specific things about the disbelievers. And I thought that there's a lot of symmetry in the Arabic between these two. 39, simply, they deny Quran Kareem. And 41, they deny the Blessed Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And remember, go back to all the verses we did about the Ahl Kitab. It was the same thing there. So in terms of kufr, in terms of denial, the people of the book and the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah were the same in that they both denied Quran and they both denied the Nubuwwah of the Blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They both denied Quran to be divine revelation, and they denied the Blessed Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be a divine messenger. So in 39, Bal kadhabu bima lam yuhitu bi ilmihi. And then they deny what? They're denying bima, that regarding that which lam yuhitu bi ilmihi, their own knowledge could not even encompass it. وَلَمَّا يَأْتِهِمْ تَأْوِيلُهُ. And when and that whose interpretation has not come to them. كَذَلَكَ كَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. And exactly in the same similar manner did those who were before them deny and deny. فَانْظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الظَّالِمِينَ. So behold and reflect upon what was the outcome, what was the end of the zalimeen, of the wrongdoers. Alright, so they have denied that which they could not encompass in knowledge, and they have denied that whose interpretation has not yet come to them. So what does this mean? They deny the Quran Kareem as soon as they hear it without even understanding its meaning or reflecting on its context, right? So think it's similar about some people today. They don't believe that the Quran is the word of God, but it's not like they've ever truly understood it. It hasn't come in the ihata of their ilm yet. They don't actually have knowledge of it. Or they deny it because of a superficial rendering of its meaning, where they have not yet received the ta'wil, the correct interpretation of it. Okay, and then verse 41, what else do they do? وَإِن كَذَّبُوكَ. And if they deny you, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So kadhabu is deny in terms of they deem you to be false. فَقُلْ لِي أَمَلِي وَلَكُمْ أَمَلُكُمْ. So proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that to me will be my deeds and to you will be your deeds. أَنْتُمْ بَرِيئُونَ مِمَّا أَعْمَلُ. And all of you are absolved from what I do. وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And I, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are absolved from all that which you will do. Alright? So Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this is how you will deal with them. Remember Surah Al-Kafirun, right? Lukum dinukum waliyadin. Verse 42 and verse 43. Now look at this. 42, they listen to the Blessed Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam but do not hear. And 43, they look at the Blessed Prophet but they do not really see. They do not perceive. So in 42, Allah says, وَمِنْهُمْ, and from amongst them, مَنْ يَسْتَمِعُونَ إِلَيْكَ, are those who do listen to you. أَفَأَنْتَ تُسْمِعُ الصُّمَّ, but will you ever be able to make the deaf hear? وَلَوْ كَانُوا لَا يَعْقِلُونَ, though they understand not. Next, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْكَ, and from amongst them there are those who gaze upon you, gaze towards you. أَفَأَنْتَ تَهْدِي الْأُمْيَ, what, will you be able to guide the blind? وَلَوْ كَانُوا لَا يُبْصِرُونَ, though they do not really see, they do not really perceive. Allahu Akbar. So they hear you, that means Quran al-Kareem. They listen to you but they don't hear. And they look at you but they don't see, that means the Nur al-Nabuwa of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay, 44. Inna Allah la yadlimu an-nasa shay'a. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala does not wrong humanity in the slightest. Means they are given the chance to listen and given the chance to gaze. وَلَكِنَّ النَّاسَ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. However, it is humanity, their own selves, that are the wrongdoers. They're wrong in themselves and they're the wrongdoers themselves. And their own selves are the ones who do the wrongdoing. 45, in the Day of Judgment. وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ كَأَنْ لَمْ يَلْبَثُوا إِلَّا سَاعَةً. On that Day of Judgment they will all be gathered. It will feel as if لَمْ يَلْبَثُوا, they do not live إِلَّا سَاعَةً, except for 1 hour min al-nahari of the day. 1 hour of daytime. That's it. That's what they will feel like when they are all gathered together on the Day of Judgment. In other words, their entire life in the world will feel as if it was just one day. So that's one meaning. Second is that from the moment they died until they're resurrected, it will feel that they were just 1 hour past. Just 1 hour past. So in other words, they will feel that they just died 1 hour ago. So let's say the last thing somebody did when they died was X. When they're resurrected on the Day of Judgment, they will feel that they just did X 1 hour ago. So that's the other meaning. And both meanings can equally be there. Both meanings can be there. Then يَتَعَارَفُونَ بَيْنُهُمْ. So they will recognize one another. They will be, recognizing one another, meeting one another, right? So this is also interesting. On the Day of Judgment, they will recognize one another. كَالْخَسْرِ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِلِقَاءِ اللَّهِ. Again, this term liqa. And in utter and abject loss will be those who falsified, deemed to be a lie, the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا كَانُوا مُهْتَدِينَ. And thereby they never ever did follow right guidance. They never were rightly guided. Okay, now 47, Allah Ta'ala mentions that He does send a Rasul to every ummah. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولٌ. And to every single ummah, to every single community in humanity. And Allah Ta'ala knows best His divisions of communities, whether that is racial, ethnic, linguistic, time period, what it is, but every ummah gets a Rasul, gets a messenger. فَإِذَا جَاءَ رَسُولُهُمْ. And then when their messenger does come to them, قُضِيَ بَيْنُهُمْ بِالْقِسْطِ. He decides and settles all matters between them بِالْقِسْطِ, with absolute justice. وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And all of them, they are not wronged or slighted at all. 48 to 49, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions His promise. وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And so now these disbelievers, they're mockingly asking Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when will this wa'd, when will this promise of the end of the world and the Day of Judgment come? In kuntum sadiqeen, if indeed you all are truthful. So they're addressing the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the believers. If you all are truthful, qul, so proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what? La amliku li nafsi dharran wa la naf'a. I have no power over what harm or benefit can even come to me. Li nafsi, for my own sake. Illa ma sha Allah. accepts what Allah Ta'ala wills. لِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٌ, that for every single community there is a time period that will expire, an appointed term. إِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ, when their appointed term comes, فَلَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ, they will not be able to delay it by an hour, not delay it by a moment, nor will they be able to bring it forth an hour or bring it forth a moment. So they cannot delay it in the slightest, if you want to emphasize the tanween here, and they cannot advance it in the slightest. So again, the concept of prophethood in Islam, in the Quran, is that the Prophet Muhammad is the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to Allah ta'ala lies all power of all things in the ghaib, in the unseen. It's very different from the Christian concept of Jesus. Verses 54, 55, and 56. So you can read the descriptors, they're there for you on the slide. وَلَا أَنَّ لِكُلِّ نَفْسٍ ظَلَمَتْ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, that وَلَا أَنَّ if every nafs which had committed wrongdoing, every self, every person who had done zulm, if to them was, to each and every one of them belonged what? مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, everything that's on earth, all the treasures in the earth, all the wealth on the earth, wealth that is on the earth, لَفْتَدَتْ بِهِ, and they tried to ransom themselves. They tried to ransom themselves bihi, by means of all that is on the earth, all that is in the earth. وَأَسَرُّ النَّدَامَةَ, and they وَأَسَرُّ النَّدَامَةَ لَمَّا رَأَوُا الْعَذَابَ, and they try to conceal and hide their remorse when they see the adhab, the punishment. وَقُضِيَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِالْقِسْطِ, the judgment will be rendered between them with absolute justice. وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ, and they will not be wronged at all in any way. They will not be wronged at all in any way. So the dhulm here obviously is the disbelief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the shirk in Allah ta'ala, as Allah ta'ala is addressing the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah. And they may have a lot of wealth, but they cannot use that to ransom themselves and free themselves from the punishment of the fire in the hereafter. And what is important here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to decide absolutely fairly and absolutely justly. Allah inna lillahi ma fi samawati wal ard, and indeed to Allah alone belong ownership and sovereignty and control over everything that lies in the firmaments and heavens and on earth. Allah inna wa'dallahi haqqun, and know and be well informed that indeed the promise of Allah Ta'ala is absolutely true. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, however, nonetheless the majority of them, they do not know. هُوَ يُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, He is the being who brings to life and causes to die, and to Him alone is the return of you all. In verses 57 to 58, Allah Ta'ala mentions about Quran al-Kareem. Quran al-Kareem is a mu'idah, it is a shifa. Allah Ta'ala is going to mention it's a fadl from Allah Ta'ala, it's a rahmah from Allah Ta'ala. 4 things about Quran. Ya ayyuhan nas, it's addressed to all humanity. Qad ja'atkum maw'idatum min rabbikum, indeed has come to you a mu'idah, an advice, an admonition, a reminder, a counsel, min rabbikum, from your Rabb. Remember I told you that Allah Ta'ala is going to, throughout Quran al-Kareem, refers to Himself as your Rabb when addressing non-believers. So first, what is Quran al-Kareem? It is maw'idah. Second, was shifa'un lima fi sudur, and it is a complete cure and heal for all that lies in the breasts. So in the hearts of people, in their emotions, in their psyches, in their feelings, in their personalities, etc. Wahudan, and so the third, so mu'idah, shifa, third, huda, and it's a guidance. Warahmatun, an absolute mercy for who? Lil mu'mineen, for the believers. So for nas, it is a mu'idah and a shifa, right? Or if you want to pause it here, for nas, it is a mu'idah, and it is shifa and huda and rahmah for the believers. Probably that would be the preferred reading, would be to pause it here. So it's a mu'idah And if they accept Iman, then it will also be a shifa and a huda and a rahmah for them as well. Qul bi fadlillahi. Proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is about the limitless bounty and grace of Allah Ta'ala. Wa bi rahmatihi, and from His infinite mercy. Wa bi dhalika falyafrahu huwa khayrun mimma yajma'un. And by means of this, you should let them rejoice. Because it is khayrun mimma yajma'un, it is better than that which they amass. Right? It is better than that which they amass. What is better? It means the Quran al-Kareem is better than that all the worldly things that the disbelievers amass. Right? فَلْيَفْرَهُ, who should rejoice? The believers. So by means of this, the believers should rejoice. Why? By means of this fact that the Quran is a shifa and a huda and rahmah for the believers should rejoice, because huwa, that Quran al-Kareem, that mu'idah, that is a shifa and a huda and a rahmah, is khairun, is much, much better, infinitely better, mimma, than all that which yajma'un, the disbelievers, can amass of this world. So this is the qadr of Quran al-Kareem. We are Ahl Quran, we are the Ummah of Quran, we have Quran. The Quran is a better thing for us than anything and everything that all this world contains. Verse 60. وَمَا ظَنُّ الَّذِينَ يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ. And there's not their conjecture, there's not their estimation. They do not think who? Those who have fabricated a lie regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do not think يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَذُو يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, that what those who fabricate lies against Allah Ta'ala, what do they think? وَمَا ظَنُّ about Yawm al-Qiyamah. What do they think about the Day of Judgment? إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَذُو فَضْلٍ عَلَى النَّاسِ. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala is the being who possesses tremendous bounty and sends that bounty upon all humanity. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ, however, nonetheless, the vast majority of humanity لَا يَشْكُرُونَ, are not grateful and thankful and appreciative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not grateful and thankful to Allah ta'ala, and not appreciative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Something that has repeatedly come, but we wanted to show the repetition. 61. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a witness over everything. وَمَا تَكُونُوا فِي شَأْنٍ وَمَا تَتْلُوا مِنْهُ مِنْ قُرْآنٍ. So Allah Ta'ala is going to mention a number of things here. Number one, that وَمَا تَكُونُوا فِي شَأْنٍ, that you are not set upon any task, any important mission, right? You are not set upon any important mission, any important task, placed in any important situation, any sha'n. وَمَا تَتْلُوا مِنْهُ مِنْ قُرْآنٍ, nor do you recite any part from the Quran al-Kareem. وَلَا تَعْمَلُونَ مِنْ عَمَلٍ, nor do you do any deed. إِلَّا كُنَّا عَلَيْكُمْ شُهُودًا. Allah Ta'ala says, except that we, Allah Ta'ala, in our majesty, are a witness upon you, over you. إِذْ تُفِيضُونَ فِيهِ, when you engage in any of these actions. وَمَا يَعْزُبُ عَنْ رَبِّكَ. So this is specifically about Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, your Rabb. وَمَا يَعْزُبُ. So يَعْزُبُ means it does not escape Allah Ta'ala, does not evade Allah Ta'ala, does not evade and escape His knowledge and notice. عَنْ رَبِّكَ, from your Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's Rabb. مِن مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ, nothing even the weight of an atom on this earth. وَلَا فِي السَّمَاءِ, or in the firmaments or in the heavens. وَلَا أَصْغَرَ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, nor anything even smaller than that, subatomic, unseen emotion. وَلَا أَكْبَرَ, nor anything that is larger than that, إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ, except that it is in a clear book. It is in a clear book. Alright. So here, clear book can mean, number one, in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second, it can mean in the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Others have said that this is referring to the Allahul Mahfuz. Right? So what does this mean? let me pause here and explain a concept that's very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything, every act, every incident, every event, every emotion, every thought, every intention of every human being that they will ever have for all time. And Allah ta'ala has known that always. And always for Allah ta'ala is even more than past, present and future, because when we say always, we mean past, present and future. So our concept of always is temporal. Allah Ta'ala's concept of always transcends the temporal. He knows always, all the past, all the present, all the future, but it's even more than that. It's even more than that. So the best way I could explain this is if I could draw for you. I can't, but I will use this little hand, if you can see this little hand. So I want you to pretend that where you see the word Yunus, that is the past, and the word Jonah is the present, and the word /10 is the future. Right? Allah Ta'ala knows the past, present and future in the same way that you are looking at these three things, Yunus alayhi salam, his blessed name, Jonah and /10 simultaneously, and without differentiation and without distinction. You are looking at all of this at a glance. One drop of Allah Ta'ala's knowledge simultaneously covers the totality of all that is past, present and future. Okay? Then I told you that is more than always suggests that you in a glance are seeing this entire slide, which is more than just the word Yunus, Jonah and /10. Just like that, Allah Ta'ala's knowledge at a glance, a drop of his knowledge entirely encompasses the past, present, future, what we call always, and infinitely more than that. So all of this is in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, metaphorically or literally, Allah Ta'ala has inscribed that knowledge on the Allahul Mahfuz. Alright. The question arises that if all of this is known to Allah Ta'ala, everything is known to Allah Ta'ala before it happens. Fine, I understand the concept that there's no past for Allah Ta'ala, but for me as a human being, it's my past, it's my present, it's my future. Allah Ta'ala knows my future before it happens. Right? So what does it mean? Do I have free will? Am I a free agent? How am I morally responsible for my actions? So you are an agent of free will, and you are morally responsible for your actions because you do not have access to the knowledge of Allah Ta'ala. So you act in a state where things are not definitively known, and you do not definitively know your future. Therefore you make choices. So you're responsible for those choices. Okay, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done is He has sent His hidayah in the form of the Quran and the Sunnah of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam to guide us to make the choices that are pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that will earn His everlasting pleasure. Yes, you may say that, well, Allah ta'ala knows that to what extent we are going to follow that guidance and choose what we do. So Allah Ta'ala's knowing it still doesn't mean that we do not choose it for ourselves. So for example, if I know that the honeybee likes honey and doesn't like something dirty, and I put two things in front of it, I know the honeybee is going to choose the honey because I know that about the honeybee. It doesn't negate the fact that when the honeybee flies towards the honey, it's still choosing the honey for itself. Now that is based on my non-perfect knowledge of a honeybee. Allah Ta'ala has perfect knowledge of us because He is the one who created us. So He knows what we're going to choose, but He doesn't do the choosing for us. He has empowered us to choose and given us in our nafs فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَالتَّقْوَى the ability to make both choices, that of virtue and that of vice. Alright? Okay. Verses 62 to 64 are about the awliyaullah, the friends of Allah Ta'ala. Ala inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. Indeed, be informed. Allah, be informed, be well aware. Inna awliya Allahi, indeed the friends of Allah Ta'ala, the friends of Allah Ta'ala, la khawfun alayhim, there is no fear upon them, wa la hum yahzanun, they will not grieve. But who are they? Alladhina amanu wa kanu yattakun. They are those who have iman, wa kanu yattakun, and they are always ever on taqwa. They're perpetually established on taqwa. They're always aware and conscious of Allah Ta'ala. They always conscientiously fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're the ones who truly obey and worship Allah Ta'ala. They're the ones who love and long for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alladhina amanu wa kanu yattaqun. Lahumul bushra fil hayat dunya. To them are the glad tidings on which they can rejoice in the life of this world. Wa fil akhirati, as well as in the hereafter. La tabdila li kalimatillah. Nothing can change the decreed words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dhalika huwal fawzul azim. This indeed is the tremendous victory, the tremendous triumph. We make dua that Allah Ta'ala make us amongst His awliya. May He grant us the attributes of His awliya. May He keep us in the company of those who are His true awliya. And simply all of that boils down to one thing. May Allah Ta'ala make us wakanu yattakun, from those who are perpetual in their taqwa. And may Allah Ta'ala make this easier for us in this month of Ramadan, which is the month of taqwa. La'allakum tattaqun. So, to an extent, Allah Ta'ala has, yes, mentioned a group who are known as awliyaullah, but they should not be necessarily entirely carved out as a distinct group from this ummah, but rather they are scattered throughout this ummah. And being from the awliyaullah is not equal to, synonymous to being a shaykh. Many shaykhs may not be awliyaullah, and many awliyaullah are not shaykhs. Alright? Okay? Verse 65. وَلَا يَحْزُنْكَ قَوْلُهُمْ. Okay, now Allah Ta'ala is addressing Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. قَوْلُهُمْ, that the statements of these mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah were, yes, bringing sorrow to the heart of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because obviously he was tender-hearted, soft-hearted, gentle-hearted. He wanted them to accept Iman, and they weren't, and they were saying things that you're a sorcerer, and this is, etc., etc. So Allah Ta'ala then consoled Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Quran, وَلَا يَحْزُنْكَ. Do not let it make you grieve, beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, قَوْلُهُمْ, all that they say. إِنَّ الْإِزَّةَ لِلَّهِ جَمِيعًا. They are trying to disgrace you and humiliate you and hurt you. Know that indeed al-izzata, true honor and grace and dignity, lillahi jami'a, lie with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entirely. Huwa Samiul Alim. He is all hearing and all knowing. He knows what they say. He knows what he hears what they say, and He knows what they say. And don't worry, that honor has come to you, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because honor comes from Allah, and He has chosen to honor you. Verse 67. Huwa alladhi ja'ala lakum al-layla litaskunu fi. He, Allah, is that being. Remember, Imam Muzahid's favorites. Huwa alladhi, He, Allah, is the one who has made for you a layla, night, litaskunu fi, so that you may rest therein. That you may rest therein. That's why it's much more barakah if you sleep at night. And one of the fitnas and one of the signs of the coming of the end of time, by the way, is that the natural order is overturned. And that is people who like to be awake at night and sleep in the day. So they're awake at the time from Isha to 1 a.m. They're awake from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., those 5 hours. And they sleep from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. They sleep those 5 hours. وَالنَّهَارَ مُبْصِرًا. And nahar, and the day is what? Literally, the day is bright for you to see, by means which you see, right? إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَسْمَعُونَ. Indeed, in that there are signs for people that hear. Do they hear this? Do they hearken to this call? Do they hear and understand? Do they reflect? Now, at the same time, if you look at it in terms of the ibadah, well then a lot of ibadah is done at night as well. The night is also litaskunu, can also mean the night is the time of ibadah, the time of dhikr, the time of tahajjud, the time of dua. And all of us know from the hadith that the last third of the night especially is this. And when nahara mubsira, and that would mean then that the day is the time when you can gaze upon the signs of Allah Ta'ala's creation. Okay, there are ways that people have try to interpret these things allegorically. Verse 68, the one place in Surah Yunus where Allah Ta'ala will also make mention of the false belief of the Christians, whereas the majority of, through Yunus, is addressed to the mushrikeen of Makkah. قَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا, that they say that Allah Ta'ala has taken a son. Subhanahu, glory be to Allah Ta'ala, He is absolved, He is above and beyond such concept. Huwal Ghaniyu, He is absolutely independent, self-sufficient. Lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. Inna indakum min sultanin, that is there with you any sultan, any warrant, any authority. You have no authority. This is negating. You have no authority with you. In indakum, not with you, min sultanin, is any authority of any kind whatsoever that you can make the statement that Allah Ta'ala has taken a son. In fact, ataquluna ala Allahi ma la ta'lamun, and do you say regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that which you do not know? So we have discussed that in detail elsewhere, earlier in the series. Verses 71 to 73 is a story of mention of the story of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. As you know, there's a whole surah, Surah Nuh, that will come later in Quran. And interestingly, the story of Nuh alayhi salam is mentioned in actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different places in Quran al-Kareem. In the more detailed tafsir series, we have explained some of the reasons why Allah Ta'ala breaks up these stories and scatters them in different places of Quran, many of them having repetitive elements, but sometimes mentioning some new or distinct element of that story in only one of those multiple scattered places. Watlu alayhim naba'a Nuh, and recite upon them the narrative of the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ, when he, Nuh alayhi salam, said to his people, Ya qawmi, O my people, In kana kabura alaykum maqami, if it has weighed heavily on you, maqami, my standing amongst you, my being amongst you, my presence, wa tadhkiri bi ayatillah, and my guiding you and reminding you and calling you to take guidance and heed from the signs of Allah Ta'ala, or bayatillah, or the verses of the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَعَلَى اللَّهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ, then on Allah Ta'ala alone do I trust. فَأَجْمَعُوا أَمْرَكُمْ, so you may all gather and decide on your amr, on your affair. وَشُرَكَاؤُكُمْ, and you and your partners. فَأَجْمَعُوا, so why don't you all gather and decide أَمْرَكُمْ, your matter, وَشُرَكَاؤُكُمْ, and your partners should also gather with you and decide. ثُمَّ لَا يَكُنْ أَمْرُكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ غُمَّةً, and then carry out your plan. Let there be no doubt. لَا يَكُنْ أَمْرُكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ غُمَّةً, let there be no ghumma of your matter and affair upon you. Let there be no doubt upon you. ثُمَّ اقْضُوا إِلَيَّ, then you can carry it out against me. وَلَا تُنذِرُونَ, and you will have no respite. You will have no respite whatsoever. So this is we'll probably do more details of the story of Nuh alayhi salam when it comes. Yes, we'll have to do this more in detail later when it comes. As you know, Nabi Nuh alayhi salam lived with his people for 950 years, right? And so this may be one meaning, that if his standing there, his stay with them is bearing on them, and he also is challenging them that if they wish to plot something against him, we will discuss the story of Nuh alayhi salam in more detail. Probably I selected this because I just wanted to show you that there is mention of the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam in this surah, in Surah Yunus. Alright? Okay. So I will actually just keep moving and we will discuss those verses and the content of those verses later. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَا مِن بَعْدِهِ رُسُلًا إِلَى قَوْمِهِمْ. I now remember. I wanted to do this verse, and in order to explain this, and then we sent after him. So we sent after means we sent after Nuh alayhi salam. We sent after Nuh alayhi salam messengers. All right. So let's just go back and just finish that up then. So verse 72. فَانْتَوَلَّيْتُمْ فَمَا سَأَلْتُكُمْ مِنْ أَجْرٍ. And if you turn your backs, and I, Nuh alayhi salam, will not ask you min ajrin for any reward, in ajriya illa ala Allah. Indeed, my reward is only and only upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And I have been commanded that I should be from amongst those people who surrender and submit to Allah ta'ala entirely. فَكَذَّبُوهُ. However, his people declared him to be false, denied him. فَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَمَنْ مَعَهُ فِي الْفُلْكِ. So Allah ta'ala says, we rescued, we saved him and those who were in belief along with him, fil fulki, in the boat, وَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ خَلَائِفَ. And then we made them the successors on earth, وَأَغْرَقْنَا الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا. And we drowned those who falsified the verses of our revelations and our signs. فَانْظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُنذِرِينَ. So therefore gaze on what is the outcome and what happens to those people who mundirin, those who were warned. Alright, and obviously that means they did not heed the warning. So the relationship of this story to the broader surah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using this to address the people of Makkah Mukarramah. That just like the people of Nuh alayhi salam did not believe in him, and ultimately they were punished, and Allah ta'ala will ultimately grant victory to the Prophet of the time, وَمَنْ مَعَهُ, and those who were with him. Similarly will be the case with you, mushrikeen in Makkah. If you do not believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then ultimately you will be punished, and Allah ta'ala will ultimately grant victory to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَمَنْ مَعَهُ, and to the Sahaba who are with him. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَا مِن بَعْدِهِ رُسُلًا إِلَى قَوْمِهِمْ. Then thereafter, because I had mentioned this to you earlier in the series, that from Adam alayhi salam to Nuh alayhi salam was one prophet, Nuh alayhi salam, and then was one prophet, and after that came many, many prophets, ila qawmihim, to their respective communities. And sometimes there were multiple prophets on earth. فَجَاءُوهُمْ بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. And each of them they brought to their communities بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ, clear proofs. فَمَا كَانُوا لِيُؤْمِنُوا بِمَا كَذَّبُوا بِهِ مِنْ قَبْلُ. But it was not for them to believe in that which they had denied beforehand. كَذَلِكَ نَطْبَعُ عَلَى قُلُوبِ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Allah says, thus to be set a seal on the heart of the mu'tadeen, on the hearts of the mu'tadeen, on the hearts of the transgressors. So all these messengers that came after Nuh alayhi salam are the prophets that we've mentioned, as well as obviously Ibrahim alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, and Isa alayhi salam. Now those who had these mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah, these are the ones who kadhabu bihi min qabl, they have been denying and deeming as false previous messengers and previous prophets, so much so that if you think about it, the mushrikeen, the idolaters and polytheists who were alive at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, another way one can describe them is that these are those people who have already denied belief in every single prophet who has come to humanity thus far. So for them to deny belief and deny the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last and final messenger, is nothing but a continuity in their tradition of denial. Alright? And the other contrast is the way Allah Ta'ala was trying to address the Christians. Christians were that community who have accepted and do believe in every single prophet sent by Allah Ta'ala up till now. So then why not do they accept in the prophethood of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And that was explained, and we did that earlier in the tafsir. Okay, then from verses 75 onward is the story of Nabi Musa alayhi salam that we did already quite a lot in Surah Baqarah. And the one aspect, well, not the only one, but one major aspect that is new here that has not been yet mentioned is about the drowning of Fir'aun and what he said. So I took those verses out, and that is verses 90 to 92 for selection. وَجَاوَزْنَا بِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ الْبَحْرَ. So Allah Ta'ala says that we made them cross, we made the Bani Israel cross al-Bahr, which is the Red Sea, right? We made the Bani Israel cross across the sea. فَأَتْبَعَهُمْ وَأَتْبَعَهُمْ فِرْعَوْنُ وَجُنُودُهُ, and Fir'aun and his battalions and his armies were following them. بَغْيًا وَعَدْوًا, and they were following them in tyranny, and they were following them in enmity. حَتَّى إِذَا أَدْرَكَهُ الْغَرَقُ, until they kept following them until right into the sea. They kept following them until al-gharaqu, the drowning, reached them. Right? And you can say idrak means the drowning overwhelmed them. Qala, and then Fir'aun said, after he was drowning, amantu, I believe. Right? What? Annahu la ilaha illa, but what? I believe that indeed he is, that there is no God except for that being, amanat bihi banu Israel, that being in whom the Bani Israel believe in. Wa ana min al muslimin, and he said that, and I am from the Muslimin. Remember, go back what did Nuh alayhi salam say, right? What did Nuh alayhi salam say? An akuna wa umirtu an akuna min al muslimin. So now Fir'aun is also trying to say the same thing. He's trying to profess his iman, and he's also trying to profess his Islam. Alright? Al-ana, so the response that comes to him is now. Al-ana, now. وَقَدْ أَسَيْتَ قَبْلُ, and when you were disobeying before, وَكُنْتَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ, and throughout your entire life you have been from those who sow corruption. فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ, and then so on this day, Allah Ta'ala is saying that on this day we will rescue, but what will we rescue? We will rescue your body. We will rescue your body. Why? لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً, so that you may become a sign for those who follow you, who come after you. وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا لَغَافِلُونَ, but indeed many of people are heedless of our signs. So Fir'aun's Tawbah is not accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a teaching in our deen, that if you repent at the last minute when death overwhelms you and death is overcoming you such that you have no other moment left, then that moment Tawbah and Iman is not accepted from a person. And just remember, just think Fir'aun T-1, right? Because he had Adwa and Baghyan wa Adwan. T-1, before he was drowned and he accepted this man, he was in complete hostility, rebellion, tyranny, hatred, enmity for the Prophet of the time and Bani Israel, right? So his outcome will be based on who and what he was at T-1, not at the moment T of death itself, right? And obviously because none of us know when we will die, therefore we should always try to remain on Iman and always make Tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 94 is interesting. Allah Ta'ala tells the mushrikeen that if you are in doubt about this, why don't you go ask the people who have been given the book, given the scripture, right? Of course, that's a separate thing, that if they were to ask them, they would say that we also deny. But what Allah Ta'ala is telling the mushrikeen is the reality that we have done before in this series, that in the Torah and the Injil are already the signs of the last messenger, and the fact that Allah Ta'ala has taken a pact and pledge from all the messengers that they will believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It can also mean that Allah Ta'ala is generally talking to the polytheists, that if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in the last day, you don't believe in resurrection after death, you don't believe in heaven and hell, then go and ask the people of the book, because they also believe in all these things. فَإِن كُنْتَ فِي شَكٍّ مِّمَّا أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ, and if you are in doubt regarding that which has been revealed to you, فَاسْأَلَ الَّذِينَ يَقْرَؤُونَ الْكِتَابَ min qablak, then go ask the people who have been reciting scripture revelation before you. لَقَدْ جَاءَكَ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكَ, indeed haqq has come to you from your Rabb. فَلَا تَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْمُمْتَرِينَ, so therefore you should not be from amongst those people who are in doubt. Alright, now at the same time, if you look at the Arabic, what I've been showing you throughout, and I must show you here as well, is this is a singular you. وَإِن كُنْتَ Ilayka, singular, right? Min qablaka, singular, etc. Min rabbika, singular. Takunanna, also singular. So what does this mean? So if you take it in that sense, then that is addressed to Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Now it's not possible that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam could ever be in doubt, right, about what has been revealed to him. And certainly that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would, instead of believing Allah Ta'ala's direct revelation to him, would somehow then believe it if humans from the Jews and Christians attested that yes, this is the same thing that is in the scripture. So, some of the ulama have said here that, and there are very few cases like this in Quran. This is the first one. Let's see if we'll find another one. That Allah Ta'ala is using the singular you here when addressing a plurality, as if He's addressing an individual polytheist, right? So, فَإِن كُنْتَ, if you polytheist singular. So Allah Ta'ala is addressing them singly as opposed to a group. Normally Allah Ta'ala addresses people in groups, right? Ya alladhina amanu, Ya ayyuhan nas, Ya al-insan. But sometimes He addresses people singly. So here then they take it that this is it's not possible that we can take the you here to mean the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the reasons I mentioned to you. So the you here means that that if you single individual polytheist are in shak from that which we have revealed to you. So the problem is here that we haven't revealed it. Allah Ta'ala has not revealed Quran Kareem to an individual polytheist. But yes, it is that Allah Ta'ala sent down Quran in your midst, and you individually are addressed by the Quran, and you individually are a recipient of the Quran. Therefore, fas'alilladhina, you as an individual should go ask that group or community that recites Al-Kitab, scriptural revelation. You should ask, in other words, the community of the Jews and the Christians. Alright? So a little bit of Arabic here as well. Verse 98, finally, we have mention of Nabi Yunus alayhi salam, after whom the entire surah is named, right? And there's very little here, by the way, about Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salam that is mentioned in the surah. The story of Nabi Yunus alayhi salam, what most of us know him for, about him being, being swallowed by the whale and saying La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minadh dhalimin. That is mentioned elsewhere in Surah Al-Anbiya, Surah 21, Surah Safat, Surah 37, and Surah Noon, Surah 68. Alright? And again, we'll do that there. But the reason why the incident, the one aspect of Nabi Yunus that is mentioned here, and there's a reason why that aspect is mentioned in early Meccan surah dealing with the mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah, and is very revealing that Allah Ta'ala named the whole surah about after Yunus is the following. فَلَوْلَا كَانَتْ كَرْيَةٌ آمَنَتْ, if it had been the case, فَلَوْلَا, why not, has Qaryatun, a single settlement, a single town, amanat, believed, فَنَفَعَهَا إِيمَانُهَا, and their iman would have benefited them, إِلَّا قَوْمَ Yunus, except or other than the qawm, the people of Nabi Yunus alayhi salam. So as opposed to all these other prophets and messengers, narratives which have come this far in Quran, Hud, Saleh, Shuaib, Lut, etc., etc., the qawm of Yunus alayhi salam did believe. Lamma amanu, and Allah is saying, and when they did believe, kashafna anhum adhab al-khizyi fil hayat ad-dunya, that we remove from them the punishment of disgrace in the life of this world, wa mata'nahum ilahin, and we granted them the enjoyment and stuff of the life of this world, ilahin, for some long time period. So here then Allah Ta'ala is mentioning that they are people who do believe in a prophet, and when they do believe in the prophet, in their prophet, then Allah Ta'ala removes punishment from them and gives them enjoyment in this world. Alright? This is an enticement to the mushrikeen to believe in Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And this is the reality, by the way, of what will happen to Sahaba. Allah Ta'ala removes the punishment of humiliation from Sahaba, grants them victory and conquest, and mata'nahum ilahin, and Allah Ta'ala then provides for them for their duration of life on earth. Verse 99 to 101, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a golden rule, and this last thing I'm adding by reason. It's not entirely by reason, but belief is by the will of Allah Ta'ala, whom Allah Ta'ala wills to believe. But at the same time, Allah Ta'ala gives a challenge that why didn't you have aql? وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ, and if your Rabb had wanted, لَآمَنَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ كُلُّهُمْ, that every single person on earth, each and every one of them, jami'an, all together, لَآمَنَ, would have had iman. أَفَأَنْتَ تُكْرِهُ النَّاسَ حَتَّى يَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ. And what are you going to do? Are you going to compel ikrah? Remember, la ikraha fid din. Are you going to tukrahun nas? Are you Prophet Muhammad here, as you singular Prophet Muhammad, are you going to compel people until they become believers? So this also is obviously not, right? If people were going to be compelled to believe, then Allah Ta'ala would have compelled them to believe. Why would He make Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam compel them to believe? Right? وَمَا كَانَ لِنَفْسٍ أَن تُؤْمِنَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. And it is not for any self, any person, any individual to believe except that they believe except with the idhn of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except with the warrant and permission and leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah says, وَيَجْعَلُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ, and Allah Ta'ala places the rijs, which we explained to you before, is the defilement, on those who do not have aql, who do not have sense. So this is why I said the notion of reason. Choosing not to believe in Allah Ta'ala is being described by Allah Ta'ala in Quran as la ya'qilun. So therefore the understanding would be that those who would believe in Allah Ta'ala would be the ones who ya'qilun, who would use their sense. قُلْ انظُرُوا مَاذَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, and proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that observe and reflect upon all that which is in the heavens and on the earth. وَمَا تُغْنِي الْآيَاتُ, and neither the signs وَالنُّذُرُ عَنْ قَوْمٍ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, neither the signs nor the nudhur, which is the plural of the warnings, neither the signs nor the warnings will help a people. Ma tughni, will not avail them, it will not suffice them. What type of people? La yu'minun, for a people who choose not to believe. 103, Allah Ta'ala mentions a very important thing, something that Allah Ta'ala has Himself chosen to make incumbent upon Himself. ثُمَّ نُنَجِّي رُسُلَنَا وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah Ta'ala says, and then surely we bring to salvation and save and rescue all of our messengers, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and those who believe. كَذَلِكَ حَقًّا عَلَيْنَا نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah Ta'ala says, thus is it incumbent upon us, حَقًّا عَلَيْنَا, due upon us, a right on us, that Allah Ta'ala Himself has made incumbent upon Him, نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, to save the believers. So we have Rusul, Alladhina Amanu, and Mu'mineen. All will be saved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All will be saved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is also an ishara, a signal to both to first the Mushrikeen of Makkah Mukarramah, that ultimately the believers will be saved no matter what you do, no matter your opposition or enmity. Second, it is a sign to these nascent new Sahaba Kiram, new entrance into Deen of Islam in the early Meccan Surah, remember Surah Yunus, early Meccan period, that Allah Ta'ala will ultimately rescue us. Allah Ta'ala will ultimately save us from any and all opposition that we are facing due to our accepting Islam. 104 to 105, Allah Ta'ala makes it clear what is deen, what is true deen. Qul, proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya yuhan nas, O humanity, in kuntum fi shakkim min dini, that if you are in any doubt concerning my Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam deen, my religion, fala abudul ladina ta'buduna min dunillah, then know that I do not worship those whom you worship apart from Allah Ta'ala. وَلَكِنْ أَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ الَّذِي يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ, rather instead I worship Allah, that being يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ, who will take you unto Himself, means that being who will cause you to die. وَأُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and I have been commanded to be among the believers. وَأَنْ أَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا, and that I, so the Prophet ﷺ is continuing that you should proclaim to them, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Qul, you should proclaim this to them, and you should tell them, وَأُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ مُؤْمِنِينَ, that I have been commanded, or وَأُمِرْتُ, number one, أَنْ أَكُونَ مُؤْمِنِينَ, I have been commanded that one, I should be from the believers, two, وَأَنْ أَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا, and that to set your face towards the deen as a hanif. And three, وَلَا تَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and do not ever be amongst those who are mushrikeen. So be mu'mineen, not mushrikeen, and have deen hanif. And the hanif deen, as we explained before, is the truest inherent intrinsic form of monotheism. And to have a complete turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the source of all deen. Verse 106 to 107, Allah ta'ala mentions that all power lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تَدْعُوا مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, and do not call, do not make dua min dunillah, apart from Allah ta'ala, مَا لَا يَنْفَعُكَ وَلَا يَضُرُّكَ, that which will not be able to benefit you or harm you in any way. فَإِنْ فَعَلْتَ, and if you were to do that, فَإِنَّكَ إِذًا مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ, then surely you would then be amongst the wrongdoers. Surely then you would be amongst the wrongdoers. So again, although this is the same theory, that although the singular is being used for the Prophet ﷺ, actually it is referring to the singular polytheist, or Allah Ta'ala is commanding the Prophet ﷺ not to do these things by means of instruction. Not that Nabi Kareem ﷺ would ever do this, but the command is to any individual, any and every individual, including the Prophet ﷺ, were they to make dua, although it is unfathomable, inconceivable that Nabi Kareem ﷺ would do this, but still the command is addressed to the language is addressed to every individual. Okay, so that is for verse 106. وَإِن يَمْسَسْكَ اللَّهُ بِضُرٍّ فَلَا كَاشِفَ لَهُ, and if Allah Ta'ala afflicts you with any harm, there is no one who can remove it, lahu illahu, no one who can remove it for you except for He. وَإِن يُرِدْكَ بِخَيْرٍ, and if He, Allah Ta'ala, wishes for you a khair, a good, وَلَا رَادَّ لِفَضْلِهِ, and then there is no one who can turn back, or can avert, or can refute, or can take that khair away. There is no one who can hold back لِفَضْلِهِ, His bounty. يُصِيبُ بِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ, and He will cause that bounty and fadl to reach whomsoever He wishes, مِنْ عِبَادِهِ, from His creatures, His servants and slaves, وَهُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ, and He, Allah, is all forgiving, all merciful. And finally, in the last two verses of Surah Yunus, Allah Ta'ala is addressing all of humanity. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ, that proclaim to them Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Allah Ta'ala in recited Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ, O humanity, قَدْ جَاءَكُمُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ, indeed has come to you a truth from your Rabb. فَمَنِ اهْتَدَى فَإِنَّمَا يَهْتَدِي لِنَفْسِهِ, and whomsoever follows the guidance, indeed their following of guidance is to the benefit of their own self. وَمَنْ ذَلَّ, and who chooses to go astray, فَإِنَّمَا يَذِلُّ عَلَيْهَا, and then they only go astray to their own harm. وَمَا أَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ بِوَكِيلٍ, and I, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, am not a guardian over you. وَاتَّبِعْ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ, and then Allah Ta'ala addresses the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, follow مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ, follow that which has been revealed unto you, وَاصْبِرْ, and have patience and endure, حَتَّى يَحْكُمَ اللَّهُ, until Allah Ta'ala renders His decisive judgment, وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الْحَاكِمِينَ, and indeed He, Allah, is the best of judges, the best of those who decide. Alhamdulillah, we have finished Surah Yunus. Sadaqallahu al-Azim wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. So because of this whole internet issue, our time has ended again today. I will be doing Surah Hud at some point, and I will also be doing Surah Yusuf tomorrow, inshallah, at 3:30. Surah Yusuf is going to be one of those special surahs that we will do entirely. So there will be no selection. We will do each verse, inshaAllah ta'ala, from Surah Yusuf.